Flock Price Prediction 2025. Can this low-cap AI game do an 89x? My complete analysis. Imagine discovering an AI altcoin with only a 63 million market cap. And yet it already has partnerships with Alibaba and the United Nations. In this video, I'll show you Flock up to 2025 and what real chances it has for an 89x. Welcome to 10x Crypto, your channel for honest data-driven altcoin analyses. My name is Marius and I actually come from quality management. There I learned that decisions should never be based solely on gut feeling but always on clear data. That's exactly why my passion and my 10x formula were born. With my exclusive formula, I analyze altcoins using 20 different metrics. I rate each one from 0 to 10. In the end, you get a clear result in percent, 4 different price scenarios, and the vision 2030. What could still happen with the price by 2030? At the end, you also get a chart analysis, and I show you what I would do right now. Buy, sell, or wait. My goal is simple: to give you clarity in a market full of hype. So if you're looking for data-driven altcoin analyses and want to know which altcoins really have massive potential, then subscribe to my channel now. Here you make decisions based on facts, not hype. But attention, a disclaimer. My channel is not financial advice, but purely informational. Have you ever heard of an AI altcoin that only has a 63 million market cap, but has partnerships with Alibaba and the United Nations? That's exactly what today is about Flock. This is a project that decentralizes AI training and might be one of the most exciting low-cap projects of 2025. But first, what exactly is Flock? It's a platform based on artificial intelligence that trains AI in a decentralized way. Normally, corporations like Google or OpenAI, of course, collect centralized data. But that naturally also means data privacy issues, monopolies, and vulnerabilities. Flock solves all of this with federated learning. This means anyone can train models without giving away their data, so the data really stays local. Only the results are shared. The whole thing runs on blockchain. Naturally, it's transparent, fair, and secure. And the technical added value of the project consists of 3 core elements. First, the AI Arena, which is a competition where communities can train models and receive rewards for it. Then there's the FL Alliance, meaning collaborations between organizations that want to develop artificial intelligence together. And thirdly, the AI Marketplace. Here, finished models can be used, sold, or further trained. And all of this is managed by the Flock token. And that's why I want a token that's not just for speculation, it's actually being used for voting rights, staking, and rewards. And why is it so exciting right now? Well, on the one hand, as I said, the low market cap. So it's still extremely undervalued. If you compare it to projects like Render or BitterSense, which are already huge. Secondly, strong partners, Alibaba Cloud, then UNDP, so government cooperation. And these are real proofs of work, not just empty marketing phrases. Thirdly, the narrative, artificial intelligence and blockchains. That's obviously one of the hottest trends in the current bull run. And Flock is positioning itself here as the AI solution that's needed worldwide, from healthcare to climate research. But be careful, only 21% of the tokens are currently in circulation. So this could lead to price pressure. At the same time though, the trading volume is extremely high overall. This shows extreme interest from the community but also from traders. So before we get started, as always, grab yourself a coffee and leave a like for me. And if you want to support me, become a Zenix supporter on YouTube. All the information is in the video description. Thank you for your support. As always, let's start with the market cap. As I said, $63.5 million market cap. That's way below Render or BitterSense. They're already significantly bigger, but of course that also makes it much more interesting. It's more exciting because, as I said, with low caps, the chance for massive upside is much higher. Of course, the risk is also higher, but especially if the adoption and partnerships take off. Here, a strong 9. Then there's the circulating supply. About 21.5% of the tokens are currently in circulation. That's not a lot, of course. That means there are still quite a few tokens yet to hit the market. That brings a risk. Because, of course, the selling pressure could massively increase in the future as a result. That's why in this area only a 4. Next point, the roadmap. It's detailed, and so far the team has delivered Some highlights include, for example, integration into the Bitter sensor network, but also cooperation with the UNDP and the AI Arena V3, which is also extremely exciting. And in the long term, they are of course focusing on further decentralization and the FlockCon event. A strong 8 in this area. Then we come to the team. The team is very well staffed. The CEO is Dialio-san, an Oxford student with an AI background. They also have a specialist in federated learning, which is of course extremely important. In addition, they have an experienced all-around dev team. They have already won several awards on the international stage, so another strong 8 here. Then what about the narrative? It fits perfectly with the current zeitgeist, of course. Decentralized AI, privacy, data sovereignty. At a time when big tech companies are really centralizing most of the data, Flock is focusing on community ownership. This exact trend is in extremely high demand this year, and it will continue to be in demand in the future. A strong 9. Then what problem are they actually solving? I think the problem is clear. Centralized AI poses a risk, for example, to data protection. The solution, federated learning. So the data stays local. Models are trained collaboratively, transparently via the blockchain, and the use cases range from healthcare to public administration. A strong 9. Next. In terms of sustainability, Flock runs on Base, a layer 2 blockchain or a layer 2 of Ethereum, which means low gas fees and more energy efficient than proof of work. Additionally, federated learning naturally reduces data traffic, which ultimately means less overall. Energy consumption, a solid 7. Next, what about the investors? The investors are strong. Lightspeed, Foundation, DCG. They really have some strong investors who have provided over 11 million in funding. On top of that, the Ethereum Foundation, this is an important trust signal, a strong 9. Next up is the competition. As already mentioned, BitterSense, then of course Flop, SharePay.ai and many others who have similar goals. But Flock stands out through tokenization and community rewards, plus of course strong partnerships with Alibaba and the UNDP. That really gives them a head start. By the way, if you want to see the analysis of BitterSense or other altcoin analyses, check out the playlist on Scenics Universe. And up here, I'll just link the BitterSense analysis for you. In this area, it's definitely a strong 8. So what does the market look like? Active on X with over 200,000 followers, listed on Bybit, Gate.io and BitterSense, so the market is really focusing on partnerships. They've also already won several awards and hosted major events. In that area, they're well positioned. 7. So how simple is the idea actually? Train AI without sharing the data. For investors, developers and companies, that's easy to understand. Users can simply participate through the AI Arena. Did I actually explain it to you simply at the beginning? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. In this area, definitely a strong 8. So what is the long-term vision? The vision is big. One fair, decentralized AI space with governance, community controls, and integration of Web3 agents. The goal, of course, is to go beyond short-term hype. Strong 9. Then deflationary. What about the CoinLighter max supply? There are no burn mechanisms, but a maximum of 1 billion minted and unlimited supply. The focus is on utility instead of artificial scarcity. That's why in this area only -6 for the token. Then what about the FTV? FTV is about 4.6 times the market cap, so still moderate. Compared to other coins which have 20x or more, of course. That's why this is a strength here. 8. Then how is the liquidity? The ratio is 0.83. That means very strong trading volume, high liquidity and real interest. Here a strong 10. Then how was the token distribution? 66. 0.7% of the tokens went to the ecosystem. The team tokens have a 3-year vesting period. That's solid protection, so they had a lockup period. Here a strong 7. Then what about the concentration of top coin holders? No whales dominate here. Over 55,000 holders. A good distribution and low risk of manipulation. Here a solid 6. Then what about the utility? Flock token is actively used. Staking, voting rights, rewards, but also for gas fees of course, and access to the models. So it has real use cases. A strong 9. Then how strong is the community? It is very active. As mentioned, over 200,000 followers. Strong team and Discord presence, events, airdrops, quizzes, and a high level of activity. By the way, are you already a holder of Flock yourself? Or do you find the project interesting? Write hashtag Flock in the comments. A strong 8 here. Then what events are coming up this year? As mentioned, the AI Arena V3 is coming, the FlockCon, Moonbase Stages 3, plus holding tools and new UNDP pilot projects. So exciting months are ahead. A strong 8. Honestly, Flock is, for me, one of the most exciting low-cap altcoins in the AI sector. There are a lot of AI-related projects, but this is a project that shows it's not just big tech companies controlling the future, but that in the end, there are also decentralized alternatives. Let's take a look now at the 10x ranking list and the analysis. In the end, as I said, with only a 63 million market cap, they're in the low cap range. They are massively undervalued. The tokenomics are solid, the roadmap is strong, and they have strong partners. Alibaba, United Nations. The community is growing and the narrative is more relevant than ever. On my 10x ranking list, they land at 78.5%, which puts them solidly in the middle of the pack, and that's definitely strong for an alt cap and low cap project. My assessment, Flock is definitely risky, especially because there are still relatively few tokens on the market. But again, it's about risk and reward. The market cap is quite low, the narrative is strong, and there are strong partnerships. You should definitely keep an eye on these altcoins. By the way, if you want to know which altcoins I actually hold in my personal portfolio, then check out the 10x Elite. There you'll get full insight into my portfolio, plus many other benefits, including full access to the 10x ranking list. I've put everything for you below. In the end, it's all linked in the pinned comment. And if you want, you can also check out the QR code here. Just scan it, and then you'll get to the app. Now let's get to the price scenarios. It's always like that. Honestly, especially with low cap altcoins, they either take off massively or fade into insignificance. But Flock could be one of the winners. Now let's move on to the bear scenario. If the entire crypto market doesn't really grow that much and adoption doesn't really happen, then we might see 5 to 10 cents here. That's rather weak. Let's move on to the normal scenario. Flock grows along with the entire market. Then strong growth is definitely possible if the whole crypto market grows, altcoins follow along, the roadmap develops well, and they continue to build strongly. Here 10 to 20 cents might be possible. Let's move on to the optimistic scenario, because this is where things get much more interesting. If the partnerships really keep getting stronger, the community keeps growing, and especially if the DA narrative continues to expand, then Flock could rise to 50 cents to $1. That wouldn't be so unusual for a low cap. Well, then they'd already be playing with the big players. Now let's move on to the very optimistic scenario. Major integrations take place, real adoption by investors, government involvement plus an overall bullish market. In that case, prices of $1 or even $2 to $3 are not out of the question. That's already a much stronger growth. And now Vision 2030, how could Flock ultimately develop by 2030? If by then the entire crypto market has really arrived in the mainstream and adoption continues to progress, then we're talking about $2 to $20 per coin here. That would of course be massive, and it really depends on how well it can survive into the future and how well they are positioned for the bear market. Now let's move on to my chart analysis and take a look together at what the current situation looks like and how I would act. Yes, hello and welcome to my chart analysis. First of all, very briefly, I use TradingView with a specific indicator. I go by money flow and ultimately whether we are in the oversold or overbought area. A quick example, up here we were in a massively overbought area. Of course, many people bought the token and the price went up. That would have been a point which is marked with a red dot because we are in the overbought zone here. That's where I would take profits or exit completely. From the altcoin, depending on the situation, of course. On the other hand, if I were looking for an entry point, then for example, this would have been a spot where I would have found an entry. This is shown here in the chart with a green dot. That means if I had entered here and sold up here, that would have been a 211% profit, which is really not bad at all. As I said, I think long term. But in any case, in the current situation, what would I do now? What would my current position be? As you can see here, we're in a kind of middle range again. We're not in the overbought zone, but we're also not in the oversold zone. That means I would wait until a green dot forms down here in this area again, and I find an entry point for myself. That would be my approach. That was Flock's price prediction. Now I'm interested in your opinion. Sparish, what do you think? How strong do you think Flock is? And if you haven't had enough of altcoin analyses yet, I'll link you to one right here. An analysis that's extremely exciting. Why? Watch the analysis and find out for yourself. All I can say is, the Salcorn even surprised me.